Hey you guys, Mario here with Xtendly for HighLevel. Wanted to cover a commonly asked question, which is how to set up a sub account from scratch. So in a previous video, I covered how to set up our agency. Now it's time to set up our first sub account. So we're going to go ahead and go through the sub account setup process. And we're going to get domains set up. We're going to get email set up. We're going to buy a phone number, pretty much everything that you need to do in a sub account to make it work properly. All right, so as you can see here, I have my sub account created. This happened through SaaS mode, which we'll pretend happened through SaaS mode, but I went ahead and created my sub account. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to get my onboarding form set up. Now I am using the Xtendly onboarding engine, which is very helpful in making sure that everything is set up properly. So I'm just going to switch over to Xtendly onboarding engine. I'm going to make sure that I have the right form installed. Now, the next thing I need to do, because I didn't load a snapshot previously, and this is really important for those of you who have never loaded a snapshot before, all you have to do is go into that sub account via the sub account listing tool. So you're not actually entering the sub account. You're just going into the admin view or agency view of that sub account, where you can find things like SaaS mode, usage limits, reselling, marketplace apps, and advanced settings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit load snapshot. I'm going to scroll down and find the snapshot that I want, which is going to be the universal small business snapshot. I'm going to go ahead and hit proceed. Now it's going to ask me a bunch of questions. Now this is a totally blank account, so I don't have to worry about any conflicts or anything like that. So I'm just going to hit proceed. And it should check for some conflicts. The only one it's going to find is missed call text back. I do want to overwrite this because I want to turn that missed call text back off, and we're going to double check that that actually happened. But let's go ahead and hit proceed. All right, now it's going to copy that data. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, well, I loaded a snapshot and it loaded all the data. Sometimes you do have to load snapshots twice. It's okay as long as you make sure and overwrite the previous data. But we can come up here in this top right, and we can see here where it's going to have that information. So we're just going to wait for that to load. I'm just going to go ahead and mark all these as red. We can clear all these notifications. All right, let's go ahead and switch into that sub account and take a look at our progress. So switching into the sub account, a great way to check whether or not your snapshot's ready for setup is to go into custom values. So I look down here, I've got 98 results. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so we're good there. Now, the main thing that we're going to do when we set up our sub account for the first time is we're going to go through and make sure that all of this information is filled out. It's really critical that the business physical address and the business profile settings are completely set up when you're creating a sub account. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a logo. We're going to hit upload. I'm going to search that logo that I want, which we're going to use my Ollie logo. So I'm going to grab this logo, go ahead and hit open. All right, that's going to load that information into the sub account. I've got my demo account, my legal business name. The legal business name should be exactly what shows up on your business registration. I need to put in my business email. Now, these are used in merge fields for locations. So let me pull up that locations merge fields. And this is what's used in the account section. So you'll see like location, owner, first name, last name. That's what pulls from this business profile. We don't need to worry about the branded domain because in this context, I already have a branded domain at the agency level, so I'm not really going to worry about it. Let's go ahead and put in my URL. Pick a business niche. This is required. It's not always filled out when you first select. So I'm going to put in marketing and internet marketing consultant. We'll do marketing consultant. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save this. We need to update that information. We want to set our outbound language, which is English, our platform language, which is also English. So I'm going to go ahead and update this, That's going to refresh my page. You can see everything saved. So we're good there. The next thing we need to do, and this is an absolutely required step, is we need to fill out the information associated with that business. So I'm going to pick my, call it online, business registration type. I would put in my EIN. I'm going to check my area of operations and hit update information. All right. The next thing we need to do is look over all the settings in the business profile. So in the business profile, I don't want duplicate opportunities. I do want to merge Facebook contacts by name. Due to hard bounce, we want that. We want this. We want this. I am good here on these settings. I don't want duplicate contacts. A lot of people ask, what is the purpose of the incoming call timeout? This is how your voicemail picks up. So I'm going to go ahead and select 10 seconds. I'm going to save my call settings. I'm going to keep scrolling down, and I want to turn off missed call text back. The reason I'm turning off missed call text back is because I already have a missed call text back set up inside of a workflow as part of Xtendly's small business snapshot. So for the purposes of this demo, we will be using the Xtendly small business snapshot, which, if you haven't heard of it, is probably the #1 snapshot on the market. Highly recommend. Check out in the links. I've linked it below if you have any questions. All right, so we've got our business profile completely filled out, which is step #1 of getting everything to work properly. The next thing I want to do is go into company billing. I would add a payment method right here. If I was a user, this is not where the agency would add a payment method. This is where the user would add a payment method. This happens automatically via SaaS mode if the account was created via SaaS, but because this is a demo account, I'm not going to put that in right now just yet. But actually, you know what? I will, just so I can show you what it looks like. Bear with me 1 second. All right, so this is what it's going to look like when the information's all populated. So you're going to have your billing history available. They're going to have their wallet balance. They're going to be able to set, this is a really important part, the auto recharge amounts. So auto recharge means that it's going to refill their balance inside of HighLevel based on the following information. It's going to recharge up to $500, between $10 and $500, depending on what they select, when the balance falls below a certain amount. So you ideally want to set this with your client to, let's say, 10, and recharge with another maybe $10 or $20, depending on their usage. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into My Staff. This is where you're going to add all of the users associated with the account. So as you can see, I've already got some users in here. I have an account admin. I have an account user, another account admin. I can quickly add an employee simply by putting in their information right here. You can also do this from the Launchpad. So inside of here, I have first name, last name, email address. Let's go ahead and add an employee. It is important that you put their phone number in here. The reason being is that if you put their phone number in here, it will allow them to receive that two-factor authentication over SMS, because email doesn't always work. So keep that in mind. All right, if this user had a default calendar, we would select their calendar. We want to turn on enable signature for all outgoing messages. One of the services that I provide customers is that I actually create an email signature on their behalf. So I try and help them to make their signature standardized, make them pretty. I do want to include this before quoted text and replies. Now, as admins, there's really no point in turning any of this information off. One of the things that you'll see that is turned off is called only assign data. What only assigned data does is it prevents the user from seeing any information that is not associated with contacts assigned to them. The reason that's important, especially as sub-users, not sub-admins, is that it makes sure that it segments the data so it keeps user A from seeing user B's information, and likewise user B from seeing user A's information. Without only assigned data on, the users can see everyone's information inside the CRM. All right, the next area we're going to go to that we're going to check, yep, I want him to be an admin. I don't have any phone numbers purchased on this, but I do want to have the information set up. So we are going to select my phone number in this case, but I also want it to ring to the mobile app and the web app for them. The reason I select my phone number in this case is because, let's face it, the HighLevel phone system occasionally doesn't work on the mobile and web app properly. That's not a HighLevel problem. That's a browser problem. It's also a mobile app and mobile phone problem. So we get around that by always forwarding it to the user's cell phone number or their desk phone. I do have the incoming call timeout set to 10 seconds. I would go ahead and upload a voicemail right here. So that incoming call timeout is going to record or is going to play that voicemail once that timeout hits. Now, a lot of times people are using their cell phones, right? And they'll be getting a call and they'll know that call is coming from inside of HighLevel, and they'll silence the call on their cell phone. What that does is it forces it to go to the cell phone's voicemail. So if you're having challenges with the incoming call timeout not working, it's probably because you either haven't set it short enough, because it needs to be shorter than how long it takes for the phone to pick up the voicemail, or it means the user is hitting the button that sends them directly to voicemail. So user availability, this is where I'd want to set the user's information such as Zoom. I'd want to set the location. So in this case, I'm just going to put in my personal meeting link. What time zone he's in, I believe he's in Eastern time zone. So we're going to go ahead and select the Eastern time zone. Now, we don't want him available from 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. This is the default availability. This is a user's specific availability, not a calendar or business's availability. So I know that he works 9 to 5 Eastern time. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I'm going to hit this really convenient button called Copy All. So the Copy All button goes ahead and sets all of those hours. Now, let's say that Fur takes a lunch break on every day at noon. We're going to set that time to be 12. And then we're going to add some hours. And we're going to say 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. and now we're going to hit Copy All. Now I've accommodated for Fur's lunch break. All right, user calendar configuration. This would be where if the user had a calendar configured, where we'd have their connected calendar information visible inside of the team settings. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And you can see Fur has now been added into the CRM. Super easy to add employees. You just do this one by one. There currently is no bulk upload or import option outside of the API. All right. The next thing we're going to do is go look through opportunities and pipelines. We want different owners of contacts and their opportunities. We're good there. We have our pipelines here, so we're good there. The next thing that I want to do for this account is I want to set up their email services. So we're going to go ahead and create a dedicated domain. So this follows the same process that we did previously in my agency view, agency video, but this is specific to the sub account itself. So I'm already signed into Cloudflare, which if you're not familiar with Cloudflare, Cloudflare is a free DNS management tool that allows you to centralize all of your records for your different domains, regardless of the domain's actual registrant provider. That means that you can have all the benefits of Cloudflare for totally free. All right, so I'm going to set this up, demo2web.com. Now, I'm using 5 because I've already done demos of this a few times, but you can use LC regular, just like this, normally, and that's perfect. You do not want to do this. You do not want to use the root domain because that will impact their DNS, their email services and deliverability. It'll basically overwrite the DNS records for their root domains, stopping them from getting emails or causing the emails to be incredibly unreliable. So I'm going to go ahead and put an LC5 and hit add and verify. All right, now while that's thinking, what it's going to do is it's going to pull up, if you are using Cloudflare, GoDaddy, or Namecheap, I believe it's Namecheap, you have the ability to add the records using the add record tool. Otherwise, you have to add them manually, which is just a one-for-one copying process. But I'm going to go ahead and click authorize domain on Cloudflare. It's going to ask me, are you okay with me putting in these records? Blah, 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 blah. One thing I do notice is that this is not correct. So this is an issue with HighLevel's auto DNS configurator. So we are going to have to fix this. So I'll show you how to do that in Cloudflare. Don't worry, it's not very hard. I'm going to hit authorize. Now, the next thing that's going to happen is if I come in here and I go to verify my domain, you're going to notice that these two records are going to fail. So we're going to go into Cloudflare. We're going to go into our DNS settings, and I'm going to search LC5. All right, so I need to edit these records to only say LC5. The reason that they need to only say LC5 is because that's the subdomain that's associated with that email. Again, you do not want to use your root domain, and these records via HighLevel's auto provisioner are going to not be correct when you try and provision them. Everything else looks good, though. We have mailload_domain key LC5. We have email LC5 pointing to mailgun.org via a CNAME record. That means all of my links are going to work. So the next thing I'm going to do is refresh this page. And you'll notice these records should start turning green over time. The last step that I want to do is I want to add this DMARC record. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to hit add record. We're going to select the type of text. Go in here, put in that DMARC record. Go back into Alibot.ai, copy that DMARC record out of here, and we're going to hit save. All right, now our email is fully configured, and when I come back in here and hit verify domain, it's going to turn green. You may have to do this a few times from a hitting verify standpoint for it to turn green, but ultimately what you want to see is the SSL issued. The SSL being issued is a security certificate that authenticates with HighLevel servers and other mail providers, ensuring that the email is encrypted and all of that information is transported securely, as well as the connection being secure. We do not need, as it says, a dedicated IP. It's only recommended for high volume accounts. So in this case, I'm not going to worry about my dedicated IP. I can come in here to domain configuration, and I do have the option of, let's say that I wanted to add one for workflow.demo2web.com. So I wanted all of my automated emails to come from a specific dedicated domain. This is a new HighLevel feature. So I'm going to hit add and verify, and we're just going to add this one more time. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've added that second dedicated domain. So I'm going to go ahead and continue verifying this until it turns green. So it says verify, we hit verify domain one more time, and we should see a green box. Now, the cool thing inside of HighLevel is you actually have the ability to select the specific domains that you want things to come from. What that does is this allows you to have different dedicated domains for each of the different functions inside of HighLevel. You can also select multiple dedicated domains and change your frequency settings of how often it sends across those domains. This is great for things like cold emailing, high volume emailing, all of the things, just to make sure that you protect your different domains from having issues. So we're going to go back to the SMTP service. So we've got our emails configured. We have our main dedicated domain. One area that people are often not familiar with is this forwarding information. So forwarding information is what we want to do, is we want to make sure that we forward information to the appropriate email. So I'm going to put in Mario at demo2web.com, hit enter, forward to assigned user, and hit save. Okay, what this is going to do is this means that any email that comes into anything that is Mario at underscore on Mario at and then the subdomain demo2web.com is automatically going to forward directly to my inbox, and that's what the forward to assigned user does. Now, I don't want to set a reply address, because if I set a reply address, it is not, as this warning says, it is not going to be tracked and come into the conversations thread. So do not set this right here unless you have a very special use case. But if you do want all of the emails to land both in your inbox and inside of HighLevel, that's what you need to set right here, which is the forwarding address and forward to assigned user. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into phone numbers. So I'm going to click phone numbers, and we need to buy a phone number. Now, in this case, I'm going to buy a toll-free number. So I'm going to hit add phone number. The reason I'm buying a toll-free number, actually, let's go ahead and buy a non-toll-free number. So I am going to click whatever number I want. You can filter down. Let's say I want a 216 number because I'm in Cleveland. I'm going to go ahead and filter down into numbers that are relevant to my area. You can also buy numbers from other countries, all those different things. Let's see. I found none for Cleveland. Let's say first part of number. There we go. I'm going to select that number, proceed to buy that number. All right, now I need to configure this number. So the first thing I would do is hit edit configuration. I do want to see this number come up on my cell phone whenever it's called. That's what this pass called number as caller ID is. It broadcasts this number as the caller ID on my phone. So I'm going to forward this to my cell phone. I want a whisper message. A whisper message means that it's going to play it in a message before you pick up the call. So I'm going to say call from demo account. I'm going to hit call recording. I want this to be turned on. Now, Ohio is a one-party state, so I do not need to put that this will be recorded for quality purposes. So I'm just going to put a space in there. I want my incoming call timeout set to 10 seconds. I'm going to leave my outgoing call timeout to none. And I want this to ring to me as the user. So I would save this as me as the user, and I would hit save. All right, my number is now properly configured. I can now place and receive calls using this number. However, I cannot do text messaging because it's not A2P complete or A2P compliant. So you can see here, A2P 10 DLC registration is incomplete or failed. So what I would need to do is go into Trust Center, and I need to complete this A2P registration. So I'm going to hit start, and you always want to do this at the beginning of your campaign, at the beginning of provisioning an account. This is like step number one. The reason this is step number one is because it does take, in some cases, up to 15 to 30 days to get an A2P approval. There are ways to shorten that process by ensuring that you're fully compliant, but you do need to do this ahead of time. So I'm going to click Start Registering now. Yes, the business is located in US or Canada. Yes, we have a tax ID. I'm going to go ahead and move this little window, close this, click Continue. I have all of my information placed in here, all of the information that I need. I'm going to hit Continue, Continue. I do need to put in my authorized representative information, which is going to be me in this case. Now, this would be your client helping you fill this out. You need to work with your clients to fill out this information. So I'm going to put this in here, put in my phone number, select my job title, hit continue. I want a low volume standard campaign. High volume is only if you're sending over 600 or up to 600,000 segments per day. Most people are perfectly fine on the 6,000 segments per day. That's not 6,000 messages, that's 6,000 segments. All right, so I'm going to hit continue. Now, here is life hack, guys. H2P life hack. See example. All you have to do is copy this example and paste this right here. Now you'll see it highlighted 2 things that need to be replaced. All I'm going to do is replace this. Now, keep in mind, it is very important to note that in this case, I'm not demoing the actual A2P snapshot from Xtendly or loading the information, just to keep this video a little bit more clear and concise. But you do need a terms and conditions, a privacy policy, an opt-in page, and a form on the opt-in page containing 2 checkboxes, one saying that they consent to receiving that information, and one saying that they consent that they've read the privacy policy and terms and conditions. All right. A common mistake people make is that when they go into here and they copy and paste this information, they don't swap out the demo text. You cannot use merge values inside of these boxes. You have to use the legitimate business name as shown on the IRS form. So I am going to make sure it has my opt-out language, make sure it has my business name, make sure it has my actual name. I'm going to come in here and copy an example for number 2. So I'm going to just copy this example, paste this right here. This is Mario. We are confirming your appointment tomorrow at 9 a.m. Reply stop to cancel. Perfect. I don't have any age-gated content. I don't have anything related to direct lending or other loan agreements, so I'm going to hit continue. The last thing I have to do is fill out these 2 boxes. So I'm, again, going to just copy and paste this demo text. I would need to fill out this information. And I want to put that number that I just bought from Twilio. All right. Then I want to, and you don't need to overthink this, guys. You don't need to write paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs. Be simple. Remember that this is reviewed by a human. They don't want to take any longer than they need to get this done. All right. The next thing we're going to do is copy and paste this. We're going to replace our information, notification, and security. And it's going to be my company name. And it has to include the opt-out language as well. We would then hit submit. Now, I'm not going to hit submit because this is just a demo, but that's what we would do. All right, so for demo purposes, let's pretend that we are A2P compliant. So ignore this. Let's pretend we're A2P compliant, and you've got a beautiful green banner up top. Or you're waiting on the compliance to finish. We have a couple other things we need to set up. So the next thing we're going to do is go into reputation management. We would click the link right here. So we see in reputation, I turn this off as the first step. You don't want this to be turned on right now because it will automatically respond to reviews. Go back into settings. Let's see, what else do we need to set up? We need our domains and custom values. So I'm going to click domains, hit add domain, and put in my domain. So this one's going to be demoaccount.demo2web.com. We're going to hit continue, and it's going to find that provider's details again. We're going to hit authorize domain. Now it is going to populate this information correctly, so we hit authorize, and that's just going to take a second to get approved. So we're just going to wait for this to get approved. All right, so we've got our domain linked. You can see in the background here that it says demoaccount.demo2web.com. But the next step, guys, this is a very important step. You cannot forget to do this or you're going to get a 404 error. So right now, if I go to demoaccount.demo2web.com, I'm going to see this page. If you see this page, I can almost guarantee you the problem is you haven't done this, which is link your domain to a funnel. So what I want to do is figure out what funnel or website in this case do I want to link my domain to as my primary domain. Now, for the purpose of this, I'm going to go ahead and do general calendar funnels. I'm going to say calendar schedule with us. This would be if you had a website or something else. This is where you'd link that information. I want my default 404 page to be something that is either a custom 404 page or a 404 page that I pick, which could be, for example, the same as the schedule a call with us. And I'm going to go ahead and hit link domain. Now, what this is going to do is automatically link that domain to a main page. Now, if I refresh this page, it's going to take me to that schedule my appointment, which you can see here. It's missing a calendar and a bunch of other stuff. We're going to fix that in a minute. All right, coming back into here, if I did add a root domain in here, so if you have an existing website, you have to use a subdomain. If you do not have an existing website or you wish to migrate the website into HighLevel, that would be what you would put here would be just this portion. Then you would also potentially add a www or something like that. So the next thing I want to do is go into brand boards. In brand board, I'm going to go ahead and pick a brand design that works for me, which I like this one, or you can start from blank. Hit continue. I do want to edit that logo. So I'm going to go ahead and upload that file. And I'm going to select this as my primary logo, same thing as my secondary logo. And then I can pick my brand colors. So I can come to the palette. I can pick these different colors. So I can change this to be whatever I want it to be that matches my brand colors. I'm then going to name and save that brand board. And I'm going to save that board. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come into settings and we're going to go to custom values. If you do not use the Xtendly onboarding engine and you're not an Xtendly customer, yes, you have to fill these out one by one manually. It is quite tedious. There are 98 of them. So what I recommend is checking out the Xtendly onboarding engine. We do offer the onboarding engine and all of the rest of the features except for live chat. So including our knowledge base, the AI, the guided tours, the self-guided onboarding checklist, which, by the way, guys, this is all covered in the self-guided onboarding checklist. If you are an Xtendly customer, it's very easy to use. But we do offer that $99 a month software package. And that software package includes what we're about to look at, which is the onboarding setup and onboarding engine. So this is the onboarding engine. The reason this is important is because this is going to fill out all of my custom values for me. So let's take it for a spin. I'm going to call this demo account. I'm going to paste that phone number. Put in that logo. So I will need a copy of that logo. So I'm going to go into my media storage. I'm just going to open this as a new tab. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to copy the link from this logo, get link, come back and paste this right here. Now, soon, it is going to be automatic where you upload this, you're able to upload this. We're completely redesigning this onboarding engine and it's going to be a lot more user-friendly, even more user-friendly than it is now. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in that tracking number. We're going to come in to put in our Facebook URL. And we'd put in our Facebook review link, Instagram business URL, I don't have a Twitter URL. We can put in the LinkedIn URL. So I grab all this information and put all this in. I'd put in, now this is really important. This is a trigger link that will replace the unsubscribe link inside of our emails. This is very important that you create a trigger link. So we'd come in here to the trigger links. We'd go into trigger links, hit links, and email unsubscribe link. So we'd copy this trigger link right in here. How do you find this trigger link? Well, what I would do is I'd go into my emails, or I'd go into conversations. I'd create a conversation. I'm just going to create one with my phone number. I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And then I can use what are called these merge values right here. So I'm going to go to trigger links. I'm going to go to email unsubscribe link, copy this link right here, and put this right there. All right, that means that all of my emails moving forward are going to use the new trigger link. That's a custom value. So I'm going to hit next. It's going to think for a second. And then what's going to happen is the really cool part, guys, is that all of this information down here that you would normally have to type in, all you have to do is put in I am going to go ahead and populate some of this other stuff. So I'll put my brand color. I'm just going to pick something random. I want this to be the enter font. Let me get out of this. I want this to be the enter font. Enter. All right, now we get to the cool part. When I hit next, it is going to populate all of those custom values automatically based on the accounts, what's inside the small business snapshot. Now you can totally customize these forms to be whatever you want. So I can go back into my onboarding engine. I can go into my onboarding forms. I can edit this form. And I can add in whatever information I want in here that ties to custom values inside of HighLevel. So super, 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 super easy to use. The next thing we're going to do is go back into that form. Now I want to go back to that page, and I actually want to go to custom values. I'm going to go into custom values, and you'll see all of this information is already filled out. So super easy to use, guys. Just totally simple to fill out all this information. You'll see some of this stuff is already getting populated. So it's very, very easy to take that information and fill out all these custom values. The next thing I want to do, and one of the last steps in the process, is actually going into the sites and linking the domains. Every single one of these need to be linked up. So we would go into the actual funnel. We'd go into settings. This is where you select the domain that's associated with that link tree. I'm going to save this. And because I populated my custom values, when I come in here, you'll see that my link tree page is already created. So it's got a little bit of a loader on it. Now, if I had any links in here, they'd be available, but I can hit subscribe. That would take me to a subscribe page. You can see here where I have my URLs that I put in. All that stuff is pre-filled out. I have my little form to subscribe that pops up. The main last piece that we need to do is as the user. So in this case, I'm going to log in as, let's log in as Beyonce Singh. which that's not going to work because he's on a different thing or he hasn't logged in yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in as myself. One quick pro tip is that if you don't see, let's say that you're setting this account up for yourself and you don't see yourself in My Staff, don't worry about it. You can fix that by going into your agency settings, going into team, finding your employee. So we're going to call this Mario or yourself. So in this case, I'm logged in as Mario at presidiotech.com. So I would go here to user roles and I would add myself to that demo account. Hit save. All right, now if I come back in here, refresh this page, you'll see that I now have a My Profile option. So this is where I would connect my two-way sync, which two-way sync is only something that I recommend using if you know exactly how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and disable two-way sync in this case. I would have my calendars and everything configured through here. So I'd hit add new, connect my Google Calendar, sign in with Google, which it looks like there's a problem with Google sign in at the moment, but you'd hit sign in with Google, and then that would make your calendars available. So super easy to use, super easy to do. You can then connect all the rest of the information like Stripe, TikTok, Printful, Slack, all this different stuff that you can connect. The last step and final step in setting up a sub account is turning on your automations. So this is where I would come in here and you see I have several that are drafted, but my tag routing is done already. I would turn these on. So go over here and hit publish workflow. There are ones that say need configuration. There are ones that say template. You do want to edit those. So don't just arbitrarily turn on workflows. But guys, it's been about 40 minutes, 41 minutes, 42 minutes. That covers everything you need to know about setting up a sub account from start to finish. Let me know if you have any questions. And again, Xtendly does offer that software package for $99 a month, super easy to use, and makes setting up accounts a heck of a lot easier. Alrighty, again, my name is Mario. I'm with Xtendly for HighLevel, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.